Welcome, everyone. It is Sunday, December 11th, 2022, a big snowstorm here in Western Mass. I'm Robin, the co-host, and this is the Morgellons Call of the Week. So we're really thrilled to be here with you. I'm so glad I'm inside and not outside in that heavy snow. So Morgellons is an interesting disease. Not many doctors know anything about it or how to treat it. They misdiagnose it, and it can be very frustrating. We know people who have gone to 20, 30, 40 doctors and never gotten help. So this call is really unique because Richard Kuhns is about to release the 12th edition of his book, How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites. And he has done tons of research as well as learned from people like us who have found solutions that help. And he's also, he has been there. He had Morgellons, he has had mites, he has had springtails, he has had nematodes. So, and he invented, or he found the King diet, which helps starve them out of your body. At least that's what I think it does. It starves them out of your body so that it gives you the ability to get your life back and fight back your environment. So we are so lucky to have him here with us every week. He answers questions, he answers emails, he researches topics to give us more information. And I'm thrilled to be part of this call and honored to help Richard. I think he's the leading authority on Morgellons and other skin parasites. And I think that his book and his protocols have helped, I don't know, you know, people get well and they disappear, so they don't tell you, but I think it's hundreds or thousands of people. Just my opinion, because I don't have facts. But anyway, at this time, I would love to introduce Richard Kuhns, the author of How to Get Your Life Back from Morgellons and Other Skin Parasites.
Thank you, Robin. It's a pleasure to be here. Today's topic is about cleaning your car. Morgellons and skin parasites. I've known many people who have gotten the organisms out of their homes, but had to give away their car or sell it. And it seemed to be impossible. Well, it was impossible for them to get them out of the car. It seems to be more difficult than getting them out of your garage, your basement, the attic, and your home. So I thought we would talk about getting them out of the automobile. Now, I'll be discussing maybe specific recommendations to be in alignment with FDA and AMA regulations. Let me inform everybody that before you start the King diet or accept any of our recommendations, you're to thoroughly discuss them with your medical doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems you're presently experiencing. The AMA requires us to remind you that we are not trained physicians, we are not trained medically. So only doctors who are trained medically and licensed are allowed to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate any organic disease in this country. So we are not, and we do not treat, diagnose, cure, or mitigate any disease. What we are allowed to do is to educate you how to use the King diet for your benefit and advantage, how to clean them out of your skin, how to clean them out of your environment, and that's what part of today's call is about, is certainly your automobile is your environment. So, getting them out of your automobile. The first thing you might do is sit in the driver's seat for a moment. I know if they're active there, it's difficult to stay there for any length of time. But just sit there and look around your surroundings. I mean, it's kind of closed in. But when we're talking about springtails, over the last couple of months, I sent out 2 updates about how these organisms actually can jump and seem to fly acrobatically through the air. Up until several months ago, I always had the idea or the conception that these organisms would just jump haphazardly and were in land anywhere. You know, they had no target. They just jumped like. But according to the articles I've read recently and the research and the videos that they've taken, they actually pretty well know exactly where they're going and know exactly how to land and are very accurate. So we know they can jump about 8 to 10 inches. So if you're sitting in your car, notice where your ankles are and look about 8 to 10 inches. They can jump either away or from 8 to 10 inches. So okay, that pretty much takes care of the area where your brakes and your clutch is, that whole area there. Look where you're seated. Now, on the side, well, you got the door. On the right side, you got your console. So they can jump 8 to 10 inches. So you want to look at that area. Look at your knees, all right? Well, looking at your knees, they can go up under the dashboard, all right? Behind the steering wheel even, all right? So you want to look at the whole area, your head. Well, you're only a couple of inches away from the roof of the car, and they can jump up there and back down there as well. So that gives you a pretty good idea of the area that you need to cover. That's pretty much everything around that area needs to be covered. And when you're looking at your feet, okay, now you also want to look underneath the chair, because if they're on the back of your ankle, they can jump back under the chair even. So you're looking at that total area. And now we also want to look at the circulation system, because when they're jumping, if there are air currents, well, the air currents might suck them into your circulation system, into your heating and air conditioning. And when they get in there, well, they can multiply and they can be blown back out right into your face or onto your legs if you're directing the vent downward. So you want to be able to take care of all of that. Now, I think for the most part, it's pretty well straightforward. I'm going to ask Robin and Mary how they've handled their vehicles in a moment. But I do want to mention one thing that seemed up until a couple of years ago, nobody knew or thought about looking at. And it's totally overlooked, and may be exactly why many, many automobiles were discarded and perhaps didn't have to be, because people overlooked in the ventilation system in most automobiles, there's what is called a cabin filter. And the cabin filter, they call it cabin. I guess they call inside your automobile a cabin. So the filter is usually located somewhere behind the glove box. What you would do would be go onto YouTube and you would search for a cabin filter for your particular year and model of automobile. And you can find out where it is and see if you want to change it yourself or if you want to go to a mechanic and have them change it for you. But without changing that, you will not probably be successful in decontaminating your automobile. It's as simple as that. Give credit due where it's due, and I learned this from one of our participants in the program, Her name was Elle. And if you look back in her blog, you can see where her experience was detailed and how she learned about the cabin filter and how by changing it, she was able to disinfect her car and be effective with it. So, Robin, how did you have trouble with your car? What did you do? I mean, we didn't talk about what to do. We just talked about where to look. So now we can talk about what to do.
So, yeah, my car was pretty bad, and I had my mechanic change the cabin filter regularly, but then I also would spray the carpets.
Well, how often did you have the filter changed?
I was changing it about 3 times a year. But I think you probably, if you know how to do it yourself, I would recommend doing it more frequently. They have videos on YouTube. Each car has a very specific cabin filter, and you can learn how to do it yourself. I just didn't want to go there. But daily, I would spray the rugs and then the floor mats with either the enzyme cleaner, or I found when I used like the Thieves blend of essential oils and created a spray with that, that was really very effective. And once a month, I would wash.
Now, just to clarify, you're talking about 4 Thieves oil?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, okay. The recipe for that is in Chapter 3. You can make it yourself.
And I would add cedar oil to it. I would also use the cedar oil to wipe the dash, and I had leather seats, so I would use the cedar oil on the leather seats, and that helped tremendously as well.
Yes, and we do have red cedar oil in the store to make it easy for you to find it.
Yeah, red cedar oil is amazing. They hate it. They really hate it. And then 10 weeks to 2 days, I would literally flea bomb the car, spray with pesticide, and I have a teeny tiny ozone thing designed just for cars, and I would run it for an hour after I flea bombed and sprayed. And that helped knock them down tremendously. And then, of course, weekly, I would vacuum, not with my home vacuum, but I'd go to a car wash and use theirs because I didn't want to infest my vacuum. But it got pretty clear. My car, I mean, I just recently traded my car in because it had so many, I was going to have to put $2,000 into it, and I'd just as soon put it into a new used car. So, but when I traded it in, it was like 99% clear. So I felt comfortable. And the other thing was that when it was really bad, you know, I could see the springtails. They looked like little white or black, almost like Morgellons threads, but not exactly. And there's thousands of them, and they were all over the dash, all over the carpeting, all over the seats. They were everywhere. So I started from massive infestation and went to just about 0. I mean, I wasn't getting bit. I wasn't getting attacked. I could drive for hours in my car. You know, when I traded it in, I felt pretty comfortable that it would be safe for somebody.
Now, you also use the electrostatic sprayer?
Yes, daily.
And what you use, the enzymes or?
I use the enzymes in the sprayer, and I made my own spray bottle with the essential oils.
Mm-hmm. Right. You don't use essential oils in the electrostatic sprayer. Never, ever. Okay. Great. Mary, how did you get your car clear?
Well, I did a lot of the things that Robin did, and I used essential oils. I used a mix of cedar oil and clove oil, and I would spray the rugs and the seats and the dash. And some of the other things I did were, I also did a lot of vacuuming, but I have a sunroof in my car, and I would ride down the road with the windows open and the sunroof open just to kind of blow everything out. And I do that like every day, and you know, and with the vacuuming that really helped a lot. And then in the summertime when it's really hot, I would take bowls of ammonia with peppermint oil in it and sit the bowls on the carpeting and close the car up, and then the fumes with the heat would just build up in the car, and that was pretty good at wiping out a lot of the infestation. And then also your clean muck zymes. I would spray those mixed with water, just with a hand sprayer, and that was really great too.
Great.
So
Okay.
I'm in the same boat as Rob, and my car is just about completely clear.
Great. For me, it was much easier. All I needed to use was I sprayed ammonia. But what I would do, I would go to the car 20 minutes before I wanted to drive anywhere, and I'd spray ammonia everywhere: floor, ceiling, doors, consoles, under the I never, at that time, I didn't have an electrostatic sprayer or even know about electrostatic sprayer or even know about enzymes or any of the disinfecting products that we have in the store. I knew nothing about them. And I was fortunate that by spraying ammonia under the seats and under the dash and everywhere, and turning on the fan and circulating it by spraying ammonia into the intake, till I could smell it coming out of the exhaust, that would work. And then I would go in the house, and if it was freezing in the morning, I would have my breakfast and whatever, and 20 minutes later, I would go out, get in the car, and leave. And then wherever I got someplace, I would again spray. When I got out of the car, I would spray everything once again. Of course, then I didn't have to wait 20 minutes. I mean, the car, was going to sit there for hours until I again got in it. So there are the different ways that automobiles can be disinfected and the things to look for. So hopefully from Robin's experience and what Mary shared and what I shared, you can make the automobile that you're using clean of organisms and use it freely. Of course, I would always have with me a little spray bottle of the solution, the body wipe, the diluted, or the Nature's Gift mouthwash. And if I felt anything on my ankles or anywhere, man, it was like, put that on immediately. So that was my go-to, and in fact, everywhere I go, I still have a spray bottle handy. Today, more so to disinfect my fingers and hands from going in grocery stores and places and putting them on doorknobs and things like that for coronavirus. But it's good always to have it available and with you. Okay, anything you'd like to add, Robin?
No, I thank you guys both. I loved some of Mary's suggestions, and I'm going to do them as maintenance. Because my new car does have a sunroof, and it does have I love the idea of closing up the car on the hot days and putting ammonia in there and peppermint oil. So
right, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mary, you have anything to add?
Yes. I made the fatal mistake of spraying ammonia and peppermint oil on my leather interior, and now it's decomposing.
Oh.
Don't do that.
Just use the cedar oil on the interior stuff.
Yeah, the leather, right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so thank you, and that concludes this portion of the program.